Hello again, everybody. Sparkster1701 here. It's time for another Renegade GoBot review. And this time we're taking a look at one of the more recognized Renegade GoBots. We're going to take a look at Tank. Now, Tank was released in 1984. He would be one of the first GoBots released, and he would be available in 1985. I believe he would be discontinued in 1986, just before the toy line itself was taken off the market. Now, while the GoBots didn't have a lot of distinctive functions listed, Tank, I believe, would have functioned as a warrior, which basically in the Transformer sense is their equivalent of a soldier. But he might have also functioned as a patrol sentry, since he was seen in one episode patrolling a city that was conquered by the Renegades in search of Turbo and Scooter, so he might have had some role in doing that. Of course, this is also fitting, as the last GoBot we reviewed, Scooter, was voiced by Frank Welker, famous for voicing Megatron of the Transformers. Well, Tank here was voiced by Peter Cullen. Optimus Prime voiced Tank. I ain't kidding you, folks. You listen to Tank talk, you'll recognize the voice instantly. Let's take a closer look at the toy of Tank. And as you can see, just by the way the torso is shaped, along with his head, he does look like a tough character. Also kind of helps that he comes with two different sets of guns. We're going to get these guns out of the way here. One, as you saw there, kind of hangs loose in his hands. This way it'll be easier to manipulate him a little bit. For articulation, Tank's got a fair amount going for him. You can rotate his arm at the shoulder all the way around. He does have a joint at his hip that allows both of his legs to bend at the same time, unfortunately. And he does have a joint at the knee that allows his legs to bend at the knee backwards, like so. Now, to convert Tank, it's pretty simple. All we got to do for him, bend him at the hip and bend him at the knees. They want you to try to keep the arms straight, but as you can see, I got a limp one here, so it's going to hang to the side like so. Then you would attach the double gun into these holes on his feet. And then we mount the triple-barreled turret gun on top of him. And this is his alternate mode, folks. A science fiction-y styled tank, which, while looking rather imposing, as you can imagine this thing being something that a man would drive, this would be a pretty big tank. But unfortunately, because of his arms sticking out at the side, it really hurts the overall look. Especially when you look at it here from the top down, you can see the backs of his arms are all hollowed out. That kind of hurts the appearance overall. I mean, we know a lot of people say this kind of design wouldn't work for a tank, and, well, that is true. That is true. May not work, but it has been done before in other popular media. After all, G.I. Joe used it for the Cobra Hiss tank. As you can see, comparing it alongside Tank here, and it's almost not too much of a stretch that if Hasbro wanted to resurrect the GoBots line or do some more crossover toys, I'd kind of think Tank here would be a pretty good representative, being a transforming Hiss tank. What do you think, folks? Sound off about that in the comments down below. Real quickly here, let's take a look at Tank's loose parts. Start with this one. This is his turret gun. It's all done up in chrome, so it looks kind of nice. Down here will be where the worst of it is, since this is the part that connects to everything. And you got to watch the barrels here. As you can see, these things are very, very thin. So it will not take much effort to break them. So careful with that. And then, of course, we've got the double-barreled gun that fits on the front side of the tank. And it's just got, this is the post here that connects into his hand, and then there's these two that connect to the tank body. Again, you got to watch it for chrome wear. This piece is a little stronger than the other one, so this one won't break as easily, but again, if anything does break, it's going to be the gun barrels, because they're not on as sturdy of plastic. It's flipping back into robot mode. In you go there. And there we go. He's ready for battle again. But now we get down to my thoughts about Tank. What do I think of him? Tank is a tough customer and certainly would be a welcome addition to any GoBot collector. As being a tank and a tough warrior, he's certainly going to be in demand for the Renegade Army. And as a robot, he does look tough. And he comes with 2 different guns, so that gives you quite a lot of versatility for a little guy in the army. It's just when you turn him into the tank mode that he really falls apart. The tank mode really isn't that impressive, even with it being more of a science fiction-y type tank than being based on a real-life tank like most of the other GoBots were based upon real vehicles. Tank joins the ranks of Psykill, Fightor, and Coptor in being designed to be more science fiction-y than based off any real vehicles. It's just unfortunately, with all 4 of them though, Tank comes off looking the worst. Because of the fact that you can't store his arms anywhere, so they just hang out there at the sides. And unfortunately, after a lot of play wear, the arms get limp, and then they just hang there at the sides. I mean, you can get them to rest against the tank treads, so they're not dragging against the ground, but it still doesn't look right, even if you could get them to stay in the horizontal position. It still just doesn't look right, and that's really what hurts Tank the most. All in all, though, I'm still going to put Tank in the middle tier since he is somewhat useful to the Renegades, but he only just barely makes it since, as I've been saying, his alternate mode really hurts overall, since the appearance of it just doesn't work. Now, maybe if he was built to more resemble the G.I. Joe Cobra Hiss tank, that might work, and I think it'd make for a cool crossover event to go along with it, and it might go a little bit to redeeming him. I mean, we'd lose the one gun in the process. He'd still look stupid as a tank, since the Hiss tank does look rather ridiculous, but it would at least be based off of a more iconic fictional tank, and many of us would be more forgiving to that if we at least could relate him to something a little bit more than just as writing it off as, okay, it's an imaginative tank. Well, I mean, yeah, the Hiss tank is as well. It's not based on a real one, but it has become an iconic staple in its respective toy line, so it would be something of an interesting route to go with, but as the original one stands, no, it doesn't work, and I'm stretching to put him in the middle tier, but what can I say? I'm a little bit on the forgiving side. And that concludes my review of the Renegade GoBot, tank. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up here on YouTube. Don't forget as well, hit that subscribe button down below, join up in our ranks, and ring the bell so you'll be notified of any future videos. Please also consider sharing your thoughts about Tank in the comments section down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.